Supreme Court, and Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament Mahesh Jetmalani first with me tonight. Mr. Jetmalani, she's had a complete meltdown, right? But there's very little sympathy for her. The argument that they are putting out is that the Ethics Committee can make a recommendation, but the Ethics Committee cannot decide on her disqualification. What's your take on that? That was the one sliver of argument put out in her defense by Manish Tiwari particularly.
I think it's completely misconceived. They're clinging on to straw. I mean, they're clutching at straw. Now, fact of the matter is that the Ethics Committee has the power both to find somebody prima facie guilty of unethical and immoral conduct, and also to recommend, expulsion. It's a recommendation, and that has to be accepted by the House. Ultimately, it's the House which has accepted both the finding of prima facie guilt and also the expulsion sentence. So I don't know. I mean, this is a complete, it's a non-argument if you ask me. It's been done even before in the Raja Rampal case. That's the same thing that happened. It's been upheld. In the cash for votes scam, if you remember in the early 2000s, the same thing happened. And the Supreme Court upheld it. It was the House that actually expelled him finally, but by a vote. It was put to vote. The House that expelled him. And the Supreme Court Constitution Bench upheld it.
So, Mr. Jetmalani, my problem is that given the terrible and dirty crimes she has committed, how can she just be removed from Parliament till the next session? I mean, a person like this has disgraced Parliament. Should she not be banned for life? Isn't this a farce that she is removed from this session and be allowed to contest the next time? I mean, she could very well, because Mahua, Moitra and Mamta Banerjee made this an ego issue. So Mamta Banerjee will give her a ticket, and if she wins, she's going to be back. And that's going to be even more disgraceful, isn't it? She's going to do it all over again then.
She's not been suspended for Parliament. She's not been suspended. She's been expelled from Parliament. So for this Parliament, entire tenure of this Parliament, she ceases to be a member of Parliament. But she can stand again.
But that is only till May.
Yeah, that's only till May. Yeah. But I mean, you can't expel a Parliament can't expel somebody for beyond the session for which its life exists. You can't bind future parliaments. That's well established.
I have a problem with that, given what she's done. I mean, how can a person like this, who's given parliamentary access to foreign countries, be allowed to get back in 6 months?
But then the criminal law kicks in. No, the parliamentary privileges ethics committee and parliamentary privileges has its limitations. This is a prima facie guilt of immoral and unbecoming conduct.
What is it in terms of a crime? By the CBI investigation, what kind of punishment does compromising national interest and selling parliamentary access and allowing parliament access from foreign countries and selling the IP for business interests, what kind of scrutiny or punishment does that invite?
7 years to life. I mean, 7 years to life. So it's a serious offense. It's the national security point is one aspect, right? That she has endangered national security by giving an outsider, somebody who's not a part of the parliamentary process at all, access. And particularly somebody with a vested commercial interest, right? She's given access, and that access could lead to, the entire mail ID system of Parliament being compromised. There could be cyber attacks, as the committee has been pointed out, and bills could be exposed. That's the JNK bill. That's one aspect. What this really started off, that became a later discovery about giving her ID access to Darshan Hirandani. The other aspect is the cash for votes aspect of it, the cash for questions aspect. Raja Rampal, a constitutional bench of the judgment of the Supreme Court, has passed a judgment in which that merits expulsion from Parliament. Look, expulsion from Parliament, I mean, it just so happens that you only have a limited tenure left of this Parliament, right? But the expulsion itself is a huge taint on an MP. It's a huge taint. So let's not underestimate the gravity of the crime just because there's a limited tenure of this parliament. And the real charge is, not just compromising the entire parliamentary ID system, right? The mail system, email ID system, by giving the login password to a crony of hers or a friend of hers or a commercial, backer of hers. But it really is the fact that the questions she posed were against money. It was not an independent exercise of mind out of public interest. She was not merely the spokesperson of somebody venting commercial grievances, but she actually allowed him to be her alter ego. It was his questions. There was no application of mind by her, and that is troubling.